The U.S. is the largest GMO growing country, and 80% of its grocery store shelves are GMO-used brands. In 2012, the four major GMO crops in the U.S. was soybean, cotton, corn, and canola, which are the basic ingredients that people have in their daily consumptions. Many well-known brands such as Kellogg, Sargento, Ocean Spray, and many more have genetical modification of the ingredients. And the general public is unaware that their favorite brand of food is using genetically modified ingredients. How does the general public not know what they're consuming? The answer to this is that the U.S. is not labeled to GMOs. GMOs have been banned and restricted in many countries, so why isn't it restricted or at least labeled here? 90% of Americans want to have GMOs labeled, and being the majority of the nation, they deserve to decide. As Americans, we deserve to know what we are consuming because GMOs have unnatural characteristics, such as its own creation of pesticides and herbicides, and when consuming the product, we are consuming every unnatural characteristic that comes with it, which may lead to serious health problems in the future. A specific company that does not want GMOs banned is Monsanto. Monsanto manufactures 2,4-D, which is a strong weed killer, made specifically for GMOs. And as GMOs continue to be used, so will Monsanto's 2,4-D. They do not want to have GMOs labeled because 63% of Americans would not buy products that are genetically modified, and this decreases their profits. Monsanto's 2,4-D weed killer is not only dangerous for the growth of GMOs, but also harms the environment since it creates super weeds and super pests, which can withstand the harshest herbicide and pesticide killers. The creation of these super weeds and pests are not only unnatural, but detrimental to the environment since it upsets the natural balance of plants and insects. Monsanto uses GMO consumers as lab rats for an experiment, not caring about the safety of the people but only the outcome of their cruel experiment. We are used as part of this science experiment because not enough research has been put into GMOs, and the long-term effects on the human body and the environment are unknown. The thought of profiting and experimenting at the same time motivate food companies to test GMOs on people while making a profit off them. GMOs have been tested on animals, and the outcomes are disastrous. Pigs and cows fed on a diet of GMOs have suffered digestive and reproductive disorders. In Europe, GM corn was planted and it caused the death of millions of bees. A European study gave rats GM corn, and the outcome of it on the rat was that the rat grew oversized tumors along with organ damage. The harsh outcomes of GMOs in animals act as a roadmap as to what can happen to humans if further use of GMOs are continued. The additional environmental harm of GMOs are that it can contaminate non-GMO crops and create super invasive species. The modification of crop genes can change the nutrient content of the crop and ultimately lead to a new crop or a hybrid of two crops. These hybrids are not natural and therefore should not be allowed for human or animal consumption. Also, the exposure of 2,4-D and GM crops on the soil destroy it and lead to pesticides entering the terrestrial and aquatic environments when the rain, leaves, runoff, and groundwater. These GM crops deserve to be banned since its effects on the environment and animals prove to be tragic. Also, banning them can prevent the human race from suffering from the same tragic effects. To avoid GM crops, look for a 5-digit code starting with 9 on your food label. Also, allowing GMOs in the U.S. is asking for death and disease, so please say no to GMOs.